Okay, so we're going to write an opinion paragraph really quick. So we're going to use the Oreo model. And what you're going to, it's not like the Oreo that you eat, which that's what it makes me think of. And I have Oreos in my kitchen right now that I could go snack on, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to try to be really good. And I'm just going to write an Oreo paragraph instead of eating about 10 Oreos. So what we need to do first is we need some kind of context. So what you're doing right now is you're writing a letter as Ethan, the errand boy that we read in Colonial Voices, and you're writing a letter to the Sons of Liberty. So you're writing a letter to the radical group that is, they are ready to fight the British, they are ready to make a statement, and they're ready to be free from England. So that's the Sons of Liberty are. If you remember, the Sons of Liberty, they tarred and feathered a English officer. They burned a straw dummy dressed as a stamp seller. And all this was because of those taxes, the Sugar Act, Stamp Act. And they also destroyed an Englishman's home, an English governor's home. So they do things that are really radical and that are really big to make a statement. So the Sons of Liberty, they're ready to be free. So you're writing a letter to them as Ethan, the errand boy, and you're going to explain your opinion on the Boston Tea Party. Now, we've looked at this Oreo model before, so we're going to just dive right in. I'm going to write your opinion statement with you, and then after that, you're going to add evidence from your text, elaboration, and your last O, you're going to reinforce your opinion in a concluding statement. So, we're going to do the first O first. So, we're going to state our opinion. But first thing, we need context. So, we know so far that King George and the Parliament continued to tax the American colonies without representation. So that's the first sentence I'm going to put. That kind of gives the reader some background information. King George and Parliament continue to tax the American colonies without representation. So remember, that means that that slogan, no taxation without representation, what that means is that the colonists, they were being taxed for sugar and stamps, and now the tea tax, and so they didn't think that was fair because Parliament and King George III made those decisions, but there was nobody over in Britain who could stand up for them, so they weren't represented when all these decisions were made, so that made them really mad. And we know that Governor Hutchinson, he's the governor of Boston, Hutchinson, he works for King George III. Governor Hutchinson works for King George III. And he will never side with patriots and send the tea out of the harbor without collecting tax first. Because Governor Hutchinson, he worked for him. He worked for King George III, but so he'll never send the tea out without collecting his money first. So then we need to state our opinion. So we're Ethan. So what is our opinion? We know that in the Errand Boy, when we read it, that Ethan is very against what is going on right now. So we need to show that King George. We need to show King George that we will not pay this unfair tea tax. It's time to fight back. and we don't care what the loyalists think. It's time to show the king that we are strong and refuse to pay more taxes. So I'm gonna pretend I'm Ethan. I'm gonna say, I am tired of paying taxes that I cannot vote on. I think it is time to fight back and show King George who he is messing with. Period. So now what we need to do, we need to elaborate. Okay, we need to elaborate why. So what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to explain how your job and your family have influenced your opinion. So we know Ethan doesn't have a mom or a dad, so he says, the text says that he lives by his wits. He kind of just does whatever he wants to. And he's an errand boy, so he basically is kind of like a spy. He gets information from the Patriots and he takes it. He gets information from the Loyalists and he takes it to the Patriots because they're about to have this meeting at Old South. So we can say, my mother and father are dead, but I know if they were here, they would fight back with me. Period. My mother and father are dead, but I know if they were here, I just spelled here wrong. I know if they were here, they would fight back with me. So now, that's how our family feels. So, explain how Ethan's job would influence this. We know he's a spy. We know he's getting information from the Loyalists and giving it to the Patriots. So, what can we put there? Okay, so you're going to do that. And then the last thing you're going to do is you're going to reinforce your opinion with the concluding sentence. Okay, so that's what you're doing for this. And then when you get done, you're going to hit turn in. And there's one thing we need to add up here. We know we're writing to the Sons of Liberty. So we can say, we can say, what can we say here? We can say, Dear Sons of Liberty, because that's who we're writing this letter to. So you finish this letter up. You can use what I have, or you can come up with your own or reword mine, however you need to. But you have to have your opinion, and you have to use the Oreo model. And we know that a paragraph is 5 to 7 sentences. So go find evidence from your text. Go back if you need to look back in George versus George. Look at it's called The Tempest Over Tea. It's those next few pages that talks about the Tea Act if you need to find more information. Finish up this. And at the very end, you want to put, at the end of your letter, you want to put, maybe, sincerely, Ethan the Errand Boy. You want to end it. So that's your assignment for today.